December 13 this year marks a historic occasion for the country. On that date, His Royal Highness Tuanku Sultan Kedah Darul Aman, Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah, Ibni Almarhum Sultan Batli Shah, will ascend to the throne as the 14th Yang di-Pertuan Agong. It will be Duli Tuanku's second reign as a king, making Tuanku the first Sultan to do so. We are in Alustah, Kedah, speaking with Tuanku's daughter, Her Highness Tunku 45 Besar Datuk Sri Tunku Putri Intan Safinas.
I think even as a child, being Tuanku, my parents were always happy to allow me to play, and as children should. And playing with kindergarten friends, having birthday parties in the palace grounds at the old Istana Negara, I think it's one of my fondest memories, having friends to come over and stay, like any other young child. But the birthday parties were always a little bit more elaborate for those times. Yeah, I think my earliest memories of my parents, Tuanku Sultan, was I think in a probably casual setting at home, like most children, whether it be at going out to a sporting event or having a lot of family over. Our extended family is very big. So I always remember from even a young age, there are many many gatherings, kanduris, weddings, people, relatives, aunts and uncles, always, being around in the istana. I remember from those times was that there was the seriousness of the role that they played, that it was really a big transition from Alustah to Kuala Lumpur. And the gravity of the situation, I felt at that time, there were always the late Prime Minister Tun Razak and the late Tun Dr. Ismail and cabinet ministers coming to ngadap, brief Tuanku. And I later learned that, this was a very sort of tumultuous time in our history, in 1970, having just gone through the 1969 riots. In those days, we used trains a lot. Kereta api Tanah Melayu, going to Ipoh, to Seremban, to Johor, on state visit, because Yang Tuan Agong visited every state within that 5-year period. So we would take the train, and that was very exciting, because we had the government had a state royal carriage, which was quite fun for a child, and also the travelling on naval boats. Tuanku Sultan is very committed to his responsibilities of being Sultan and being in that leadership role. It is a sense of fulfilling expectations, which is, I think, what's important to him. He understands he understands the responsibilities of monarchy within a constitutional setting, I think, very, very well. And always tries to remain above bias or politics. So he understands that separation of powers and the duty is a very important thing, that you symbolize not just a government, you symbolize, you also represent the whole country. And the whole country is made up of all the different races, opinions, and cultures and traditions. So I think he's a very committed person to that role as a leader, even though he may not be verbal about it, but he practices it. So commitment is one. He's also committed. We have had to cut short holidays in order to fulfill an event in Kedah. Come back from overseas to make sure we go to a speech day. He goes meets a speech day. He has gone on functions even though he's not felt very well on that day. So he just doesn't like to disappoint people. And it can be as simple as a school prize giving, which is children, it's not, it's secondary school children. So, but he still sees that as very important because he's made that, he's gone to prize giving to the same school for over 30 years, to the same school. So he's not missed 35 years of prize giving. So he doesn't want to break that record, or not break that record, doesn't want to change that pattern as far as he can help it. So I think what he believes is it really is about continuity and consistency in behavior and responsibility. As a constitutional ruler or sultan, he plays many roles. He is automatically the head of religion. He is automatically, as a king, field marshal. He is automatically chancellor to universities. So those roles have to be met. Responsibilities have to be met. So Tuanku's special contribution to the state is really that stability, I think, that he has, and the fact that he has been Sultan for 50, how many years? 52, 53 years. Sultan of Kedah for 53 years. I think it's not just about the time spent, but it's also about the quality of time spent. Tuanku attends over 300 functions a year. I think in Kedah, people identify with him, whether young and old, and I think because they've grown up with him in the background. And one Muazzam has grown up with Tuanku has been the Sultan ever since he's been born. So that longevity, I think, is his special contribution in quality in that time spent. He loves sports, so it's always been about golf. In the older day, it used to be billiards and snooker. Very good snooker player, very, very good billiards player. So because my grandfather was also very sporty, he loved tennis and golf. So I think that's part of our interest. So relaxation through golf and sports. Photography, he's very interested in it. He used to take really nice, develop his own photographs. Tuanku Sultan and my late mother were also very keen on music. My late mother played the piano and the organ and the xylophone. Tuanku Sultan used to sing during more casual settings, before karaoke, well before. Music is very much part of our family punya interaction. My late mother, the Negri family, there are family there because living in Sri Menanti is quite a cozy and remote place. So I think they relied on sports and music, the children, when they were growing up, to sort of entertain each other. So the late Tuanku Jaafar was a great sportsman, cricketer and football, hockey as well. So, and they all played music and sang, and I think when growing up, music's very much part of our life. You know, I studied the piano and at boarding school when I was in England, you know, I had the chance to go to concerts, classical music, and they took me to watch shows on West End, and I think all this helped, I suppose, make me fairly musical. Oh yeah, definitely jazz, or I mean, you know, the great standards by Nat King Cole, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, you know, that era.
Yes.
It's you know, part of his early years, and I think it's still one of great great songs that really last. Piramli, of course, Piramli, and enjoys traditional music, keroncong, joget. So Tuanku also supported traditional music and dance here in Kedah. Tuanku Sultan is a very wise and deliberate person, and he feels his responsibilities very deeply. Even though he may not be excessively vocal in his work, vocal, but he actually takes on board the responsibility very, very seriously. And I think if, you know, the public has that impression or that view of Tuanku, I think that's very good. Really is a man born in the Istana and brought up by a king. So tradition of kingship lies very deeply in him. So, you know, this is a great historical occasion for Tuanku, but I think it's also a great, I hope it will be a very good time for Malaysia.